There are things that shouldn't be political. Who you're allowed to marry, scientific reality, our right to hold beliefs no matter how plausible or absurd. One thing that certainly shouldn't be political is the greatest threat to countless species on this fragile little ball we call home, and that is the increase in average global temperature. The fact that in the face of almost universal expert agreement on the current precariousness of our planet, we have those that deny it's happening and then use that for political leverage is beyond bloody preposterous.
Of national attention, in case we have forgotten, because we keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record, I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
When a threat is ever present and affects everyone, your debates on the size of government or whether or not pot should be legal should cease, and we should all knuckle down to fix the problem, because wherever you stand on tax and spend, your fragile human body will burn up along with that idiot across the aisle. There is an issue though, even if you're right, and that is the temptation to wag your fingers. And speaking as someone who would stick their hand in a bandsaw if someone patronisingly told me not to, I can empathise with those who think that the whole climate debate has been hijacked by a load of bourgeois knobheads who adore to talk down to people and tell them that they're morally failing. Take Fridays for Future, for example. While I agree with the urgency of the threat and the thrust of their argument, there is no doubt that it has become a middle-class wank circle, with people earning six figures bragging at how worthy they are while getting to take the afternoon off work. And I know the origin of the movement, but I just think it should be moved to Saturday so the people at the call centres can join in. If you gentrify a movement, people will resent it and push against it, and it's imperative that everyone come along with this, not just the middle classes, when they're not driving around in Mercedes GLSs, of course. Daybreak from Matt Leacock and Matteo Menapace manages to elucidate the issues and provide solutions without the faintest hint of a finger wag in sight. Not only that, it's a bloody brilliant game too. I've been following this one for a while. It is something of an outlier in modern games. Games don't tend to want to talk about the pressing needs of the day. They seem to want to talk about cats. And I get it too. When people are indiscriminately slaughtering each other and our societies are rapidly descending into dystopia, it is understandable that people don't want to focus on that shit in their downtime. Escapism is valid when there's so much to escape from. Art, though, can say so much to us and help us elucidate our thoughts. That's why it's so valuable, and Daybreak is incredibly valuable. It has one central thesis, so simple and yet so seemingly unattainable. If we, as a species, work together to avert this oncoming disaster, we can share in the spoils forever and leave a better planet for those who come after. Naive, maybe, but incredibly compelling. All of that uplifting faith in humanity would be nothing, though, if there wasn't a game there. But, thankfully, there is. In Daybreak, players take on the roles of nations, for want of a more efficient term, trying to greenify their energy. You could be China, the EU, the USA, or the Global South. All of them have different challenges regarding their CO2 emissions and take different tacks when attempting to go green. Nations also start with a unique tableau of cards. These are the initial projects that they are undertaking to bring their emissions down. This could be to end the use of fossil fuels or developing an early warning system for climate crises. These projects are usually activated by discarding cards that you will draw throughout the game, and it is these cards that are the engine of Daybreak. You draw a new hand at the beginning of each round, and these can be used as new projects to update or replace your current ones. They can be used for their symbols to strengthen cards you've already played, or discarded to trigger effects. Players play their hand of cards in a free-form action phase, negotiating with the people around the table to give or receive the help they need to reduce their carbon emissions in areas like production, infrastructure, or agriculture. After all players are done, the game takes over. Total emissions are calculated, and after the oceans and forests absorb their share, the remainder are added to the warning track. Go past a certain level and the average global temperature increases. At the beginning of the round, crises are drawn, and these are now resolved. These are usually worse the hotter the planet is, and that can give crisis tokens to the players. If one player gets 12, the game is lost. Then play proceeds to the next round. Take too long to fix the issues, and the game is lost. If the planet heats up too much, the game is lost. Develop a carbon-neutral planet, though, and you and the whole world can experience a cleaner Daybreak. Look out of your window and you don't see the world of Daybreak. Read a newspaper and you don't see the world of Daybreak. Join a bloody Discord server and you don't see the world of Daybreak. This game posits a world of human cooperation that simply doesn't exist, but it also posits a world in which it may exist. This optimism is to its credit, even if I don't always find it especially plausible. What I do find plausible, though, is a rigorously designed and very enjoyable game. You can see the fingerprints of Matt Leacock all over this game, but this isn't, and I can't stress this enough, this isn't Pandemic. Although the basic structure is similar, you do things and the game does things, it feels very different. It offers different challenges and a new style of cooperation that is very personally focused. You have a hand of cards that are mainly used on your own tableau to maximise your own abilities and discard your own pollutants. The cooperation comes in blagging a card from somewhere else or exporting some of your solar panels. Also, there is cooperation in the universal projects that are drawn each round. These offer powerful effects, but take the work of the whole table to activate, and deciding when to contribute your resources to these is crucial for winning the game. This also wonderfully models the tension of looking after your own interests while offering aid to others. Focus on one too much and we'll all go down. This self-focused play also eliminates the bane of many co-op games, the alpha player. That can't exist here, as you are focused on fixing your own nation and the rest of the players are too, and it is this puzzle that is the real attraction in Daybreak. This is a game that is drenched in tension right from the start too, as your nations are at their dirtiest at the beginning, and it is only as you master your project that the tension begins to ease off, that the pull between the ever-strengthening crises and your growing efficiency keeps the game on the knifiest of edges. The projects are super interesting too. There is no doubt that this is a game of techno-joy that revels in the sheer possibility of solutions to the climate crisis and embraces the future rather than dreading it. Researching Daybreak must have been huge fun. This is not solely a game of unbridled optimism, though. The difficulty of it and the pollution rendered in tokens that are placed on the board really hit home the potential catastrophe that awaits us and highlights how close we are to the brink. What I really like about Daybreak, though, is that it refuses to patronise or lay blame. We are where we are and we have to fix it. There are no snide digs at the Republicans or assertions of moral superiority. This is a game that wants to solve a problem, not leave one in on the opposition, and that is to be greatly admired. If you want culture war bullshit, you won't find it here. It is naive to assume that you can get everyone to go along with you, maybe, but at least you're not duking it out with morons on Twitter. Daybreak is a very mature effort. Also, it is brilliant mechanically and folds its themes seamlessly in. It is not an essay, it is a game, and Daybreak never forgets that. There have been games that have dealt with a climate crisis before, but Daybreak is a leader in this field and should be on school library shelves around the world. Also, in a climate of rampant science denial, it is refreshing to see a work of art that revels in the possibilities of science and presents them to us in a thoughtful way. Daybreak is a game with a very simple message. Cooperate or perish, and it delivers that message in that hands-on way that only games can. The medium is truly the message with this one. Thank you so much for watching. You can like the video if you liked the video, and you can sub to the channel for future videos. You can get great 5G4D merch at someeple.com, and if you really liked this, you can help future videos get made by going to patreon.com/5G4D and supporting the podcast and the YouTube channel, like these wonderful people. Right, I'm off to pluck a bouquet of freshly grown spring catchphrases.